What's up, Jason? Eric here. I was watching a video on hate crimes, as you know. I left you a text message, but I feel like all the typing and stuff is just it's gonna be a big misunderstanding and a bunch of confusion. So I figured I'd make a video so you know exactly where I stand, so there's no big dilemma and a million comments later we're still wondering what the fuck each other's talking about. I do agree. It's really silly to have a bunch of separate laws when it comes to hate crimes or just crime in general. I understand the adult and the children, the difference in that. Although sometimes that becomes a bit skewed for me. But all the hate crime stuff is a bit ridiculous. I understand why they're pushing it so hard, but I do think it should be equal across the board. But when I say equal across the board, I mean equal everywhere. In your comments to me, you said that you are for civil unions. Well, that's not good enough. A civil union may give us all the benefits that a heterosexual couple would get, but it's still not the same thing. If you want a bunch of equality on one side of the law, then it has to be on the other side too. You can't do that. It's like saying, I believe everybody should be able to have hamburgers any way they want, but certain groups can have French fries, certain groups can have onion rings, for no reason other than one group is different than the other. It's both sides to a burger. Who cares if they're different? It's both. You can get it with the combo meal. It's the same thing. That's basically the same thing between a civil union and marriage. I believe that the wording of it is important in itself because that alone is strong enough to make people not want us to have it. So if it's strong enough for people to say we don't want you to have it because it's called this, then it should be important enough for us to fight to get it for that same reason. So although I agree with you, it's silly to not have equality across the books for law. On the same token, it's really silly to not just say gay people can get married. It seems really silly to me because I could go through a list of reasons why we should be allowed, considering there are other groups that are allowed to get married that don't happen to be Christian, which seems to be a big argument, is that God defines marriage between a man and a woman, or the Bible defines marriage between a man and a woman. But there's a list a mile long of people that are not Christian that they're allowed to get married, to use that word, which I'm sure you know because you're big on this political stuff. So obviously you know what I'm talking about. But people tend to forget that when they're fighting for what they believe in. They want to push aside the rational stuff and the things that matter to go against their argument. So if it's something you didn't get into or something you didn't read about or look up or whatever, it's no big deal. We're just on different sides of the fence about that. But I do agree with you on the equality issue with laws, but I believe that it should be equal across the board for everything because that's just right. It's just right. You know, why would gay people want to go around and have that one thing that makes us not equal to everyone else? You know, people that aren't gay can say, oh, it's the same thing, it's the same difference. But if you were on the other side of the argument and you were the one trying to get the same rights as us, you would say the same stuff, pretty much. Anyway, that's it. And I've rambled on for about 4 minutes, so let's hope the video worked. This is my new camera, by the way. My first video on my new camera. Amazing.